The following program was made possible by Brady Singer, Spencer Steer, and Noelvi Marte. Without their contributions to the Cincinnati Reds win today, Late Night Reds may not have happened. With Ben Brown, I am Seth Shaner. Listen, Ben, yesterday I texted you in the afternoon before they played. They looked terrible last night. They lost. They looked a little bit slow to get going on offense today, but they come back and win. If they would have lost today and been swept for the first time all year and have lost 4 in a row at that point, they would have been 2.5 back of the Mets. I don't know how we would have done this show. This is the Good Vibes episode, and I'm so thankful, Ben, that they were able to pull one out today with the help of the guys I mentioned.
Man, I tell you what, I went out to dinner, and we had the game on the TV, and I mean, I was just praying. I was praying something would happen. And, man, Spencer Steer hits that bomb, and I feel so good about it. And it made everything feel better. The fact that we were able to get out of there at least with a win on a Sunday, on a getaway day, makes you feel a little bit better. And definitely helps the vibes for sure.
Yeah, they cut to the lead in the wild card to 1.5 games. The Mets lost today, so certainly still a chance as they head over to Los Angeles. But I'll tell you, the pitching matchups look pretty good. Hunter Green usually fares well in Dodger Stadium, and looking forward to seeing if Lodolo can come back and not be affected by the blister there in the last game of that series.
Yeah, I mean, it lines up well for us. We get Hunter Green and Lodolo in that series, and Nick Martinez in the middle. So hopefully we're able to put some quality starts together there. Hunter Green pitched well in his last outing. And hopefully Lodolo dazzled the Dodgers when they were in town here. So I'm hoping that he can continue to do that as well during this series.
Well, hey, everybody out there listening, I see you logging in and things like that. You're starting to tune in. I want you to spam us with as many comments as you want. The thing we need to do today, and I've asked Ben to think of a few things, what are some areas of this team and this season we can focus on from the positive? Because what I keep seeing is, and I'm guilty of it too, I'm not telling you how to think, but what I see is when they have 4 or 5 bad innings to start a game, my social media feed is completely just all negativeville. All right. And I'm not blaming you. It's been a slog. We've said it multiple times this year. The roller coaster ride has had nearly as many downs as there's been ups, although lately they keep on elevating as far as how many games above 500 they can get. One positive, we're already seeing one. Joey Gaditza, thanks for being the first to chime in. Refuse to be swept. Never been swept is still a thing, Ben. It's still a thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that's an ultra positive for this group. You know how hard it is not to go through a season and be swept. That's insane. And for them to come in, and be that group and be those guys, it just shows a little bit of resiliency, right? It shows some mental toughness, intestinal fortitude to be in a series, even if the series isn't going your way, to be able to stop a sweep or to be able to win 2 games and have something, at the back end happen. To be able to finish a series and not be swept is really cool.
It is. And obviously they still lost 3 in a row, right? I think they lose the last game of the Angels series. They lose the first 2 of the Arizona series. We're not saying that they've been perfect, certainly all year, because it happens. And here, Joey Gaditza also, he said this earlier today when I threw it out there. I wanted good vibes. This rotation will be solid for a long time. I was primarily thinking about this year, but if we talk about it that way, let's think about it that way, Ben. They've got good news on all these guys. Even Rhett Lauder starting to ramp up a little bit. I told Skyler, and I believe you were on that chat, I think that's kind of like a throwing red meat to us fans. We're so excited to see more good pitching. I just don't see it. I don't think he's pitching this year, but if he's ramping up now, that means more of a regular offseason for him. I think Rhett Lauder in 2027 should be a factor in that rotation.
Yeah, I think that's the best thing about that part is that he is if he's starting to ramp up now, that means that he's going to get a complete off season, and we've
Mhm.
seen that how important that is for guys, not only just pitchers, but anybody that's had an injury during the season to be able to have a complete off season, to be able to heal, to be able to pitch, to be able to field, to be able to do those things that you do in the off season, lift weights, condition, all those things you do in the off season. And when you're not hindered by trying to rehab an injury and you've already rehabbed the injury and you're ready to go, that means you can have a complete off season without having to do all the other stuff. So if he can get to the point where he can have a complete off season, where he can work out, he can lift, he can do his routine and do all that stuff without having to go through an injury rehab, that's just definitely a more positive spot for him.
So the Reds, even at its back end, will have Brady Singer next year if they choose to offer him arbitration. That's a no-brainer. He'll be 29 next year.
Mm-hmm.
So if we started from the back and came forward, they'll have Brady Singer at minimum. They should have Rhett Lauder back. They should have Chase Burns for a full season, ready to throw more innings. And then going on up, they will have Hunter Green and they will have Andrew Abbott and they should have Nick Lodolo unless they decide to trade for an actual power hitter at some point. So, even if Nick Martinez, I don't expect them to offer him a qualifying offer again. But even if he's gone, which it looks like he could be, and then I need to look up Zach Littell as well. I mean, this is interesting. This is really good for the Cincinnati Reds going forward, let alone for the rest of this year.
Oh, absolutely. I do wonder if you want to hold on to all those guys. I wonder who becomes your bullpen guys. I mean, I would assume if you hold on to Martinez, he becomes one. Does Rhett Lauder become a bullpen guy, or do you keep him in the starting rotation? Then does Chase Burns become a bullpen guy? So there's a lot of different. It's a good problem to have. I mean, you have a lot of good pitching. But you usually you only have 5 starting spots, and you've got 7 guys with the possibility of being in that rotation. So
Littell and Martinez are both UFA. They're unrestricted free agents going into next year. So you're basically looking at Singer being the odd man out unless they decide to do something. Now, I mean, we have to understand Rhett Lauder won't be throwing 180 innings, next year. So they'll have to figure that out. But I can't imagine either he or Chase Burns will be considered reliever type guys. Those guys are those are future possible top of the rotation guys if and when Hunter Green goes to free agency. Joey Goditza also says another positive is Noelvi took his lumps after the suspension and has put his head down and just worked hard to put it behind him. Good for him. Absolutely. I saw the stats just recently. They are amazing what Noelvi Marte did. Bryce Spalding, a great follow on Twitter, put up in 2023, he hit 316 with a 366 on base and a 456 OPS. Or I should say, that's a slugging. It's a 120 weighted runs created plus. Last year, after he came back, he only had 242 plate appearances. He hit 210, Ben. He got on at 248 clip, and his slugging was only 301. That's only a 48 weighted runs created plus. This year, 300, 338, 518 with a 131. I told you the other night when we compared, I was a little out on my skis, a little bit out over my skis, comparing them to Bonds and Bonilla, but Ellie and Marte together, especially put Ellie a little more healthy next year. I'm excited, and I think that they can do some great things. It's funny to me. I want your thoughts on this. Tito had guys who he said, "You're going to have to prove it to me."
Yeah.
And one of those guys was a guy that had a PED rap that he had to beat last year. And he basically banished him to the backfields and told him, and Bryce Spalding even brought that up in his tweet, so I don't want to steal it from him completely, but let's talk about it. This is a guy that had to earn his way back, and he has done that and then some. He's a foundational piece right now.
Yeah. He's probably been – we were talking about good vibes and bright spots. He's probably been my favorite bright spot of the year because of what he's had to battle through and what he, not really battle through, but overcome. I'll say that with the PED thing and all that stuff, and had to work his way back, and then he got injured, and then he had to work his way back. So there was a ton of speculation and a ton of just, you just weren't sure what he was going to be once he finally returned to the lineup. And honestly, like, I couldn't imagine not having him in our lineup now. I mean, he's a guy that he's been so consistent. He's been able to hit the ball at all fields. He's been able to actually transition from third base to right field. I mean, he's been everything and more that we've asked of him, and he's done everything without any complaining, without any issue. He's just gone to work. He's been able to provide quality at bat after quality at bat, clutch hitting, timely, all kinds of different things that he's done. He had another little league home run. I mean,
My kid and I love that today.
no, so it's like, he's just done everything that he possibly could to put himself in a good spot. And now he's one of those guys, like, I couldn't imagine him not being in our lineup
No,
because he's
and
that valuable.
I sent you and Skylar the tweet from Just Baseball yesterday. The tweet read this: the only NL players with a 300 average and a 500 plus slugging this season, and with a minimum of 220 plate appearances, which I think he just reached, Ronald Acuna Jr. and Noelvi Marte.
Jeez, Pete.
I mean, that's not. I mean, those are two kind of. I don't know. I won't say they're cherry picked stats, but it shows where he is right now. I'm just amazed right now that what he's been able to do, and I honestly think, and listen, he's getting better and better in the outfield. It looks so much more comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly think, and it's funny, like when it goes right, you can sing Tito's praises, right? I mean, first he didn't have him as a part of opening day, and coming north with the big club. Then he's got him at third base, but he didn't trust his glove late in games.
Yeah.
So he's yanking him for, so that, late in the games, even as early as the seventh inning. So Espinal has to bat sometimes, at least once. And that's just messing with his head. And Marte kind of went downhill a little bit for just a little bit. And then he moves to right field, and instantly he just produces. And that tells me it was weighing on him. It really was. It was weighing on him that he wasn't able to stay in ball games. And now go out to right field and just catch the ball and throw the ball as far as you can.
Yeah.
So listen, I've got this other comment coming, and I'm going to put it up here. We want to be positive today. All right. But one thing we can be positive about is this guy in the future. Dustin Croft says, I know we are probably exhausted by the bring up Stewart thing, but by God, boys, we got a chance. Seize it. Nothing in sports is guaranteed. Stewart, yeah, let's talk about Sal Stewart. Like, he is tearing the cover off the ball in AAA. And again, we spent Thursday night and then even last Sunday, Skylar and I, praising Nick Krall for these trade deadline moves. And one of them was basically to bring in a third base over top of your top fielding prospect, your top positional prospect. You brought in a guy that's signed through the rest of the decade at third base. And by the way, he probably is the best third baseman defensively in baseball. And so all of a sudden, Stewart just keeps hitting the cover off the ball. And I got to believe, I don't know. I saw some people, again, going a little more negative, saying, well, they're just going to wait till they come back home to bring him up, aren't they? They want more gate. Well, maybe. But Stewart is a real prospect, man. He's going to be probably a fixture, whether it be at first base or I don't know where. They'll find a place for him if he hits this way.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way you can keep him down. I mean, if he's hitting the ball the way he has been, I mean, it's incredible to watch because, like, his ability to just power the ball out, the ability to hit the ball, the way he has been in the minor leagues. I mean, it's all the things that we've been asking for, right? A guy with some pop, a guy with the pop that you can put in the lineup. But I mean, is it the right time to bring him up now? Is it? I mean, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that's the answer or not. But like, is it time for him to come up and play? Is this the opportunity where you put him in your lineup, or do you let him have the success he's been having, and then bring him up next year when you have a more solid foundation for him in the lineup? I don't know. I don't know what the answer is.
I don't think you can bring him up and say he's the savior. or he's going to be the reason the
Right.
offense gets good enough to make a run. You can't put that on him, and you can't
Right.
expect the guy. I mean, remember Jackson Holiday last year? I mean, he comes up and just did just awful, and he ends up having to be sent back down. You don't want to see that, and you don't
Yep.
want the fate of the franchise to be put on the shoulders of a guy who might not be ready for it. And
Right.
so, I think if they bring him up into more of a not a utility role, but a role that is saying, "Hey, we don't expect you to bat third or fourth in the lineup right away. We don't expect you to bat fourth and be the guy that helps Ellie."
Right.
Um, yeah, and Dustin responds. He says, "I guess what I'm saying is we never know if we're going to be back here again. Like, look, Baltimore thought they were on the rise, and look where they are now. Bring them up now. It's the time to see it." I don't disagree with you, Dustin. Um, I, I can't completely comprehend the move to bring in Hayes, honestly, even though it's worked. I thought they would bring him up basically on August 1st. I honestly did. But because they traded for a third baseman that signed through the decade, I guess immediately I thought, well, they're not going to. And yeah, Dustin's right, because Baltimore, even when they were winning, got criticized a lot, Ben, for not bringing up guys quick enough. And the Reds have had that reputation
Yeah.
a little bit, except for in 2023 when they just started bringing these guys up right away. I mean, Ellie only played a month and a half of AAA before he got brought up. So, and
Yeah.
look, that's basically actually where Stewart is right now. Stewart got called up to AAA the day after the Futures game, which is right there at the All-Star break. And
Hmm.
so you're looking at he's played 5 weeks in AAA. So
Yeah.
he's probably right about pretty close to the number of games Ellie played. Ellie was injured very early in that year, 2023. I think with a hand or a finger. And so I should look it up when we get off the air and see what it is. But any of you guys can look it up while you're listening or watching. I bet you it's about the same. So maybe they have their program and they know what they're doing.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, they've definitely had their way of doing things, and it seemed to work. So I mean, they got an idea in mind, and they've got a thing in place to where I guess they have an idea of what they want to do with South Stewart. And you never know. I mean, he could be a late call up. He could be brought up at some point. But like you said, I think you bring a great point, Seth. Like bringing him up, like I don't want to put the pressure on him of saying now we brought you up, you've got to be the guy that helps us get to the playoffs. Like,
Mhm.
and I don't know if that's fair for him, especially I mean for a kid that he's coming out of AAA. This team is already trying to make a run, and do these types of things. I don't know if you can do that to that kid, but like you said, I think you can make him a guy that gets a spot start, a utility guy, a guy that plays some, gets some at bats. Um, and then if he's hot up here, then yeah, I mean, I guess you have to leave him in the lineup. But I don't want to put that kind of pressure on him to say, yeah, he's the guy that's going to flip this thing around.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I can see that. Dustin, you're right. Dustin chimes in again. I just really want to take advantage of this year. And he's saying there's no other super team out there. We just need a chance in the playoffs with our pitching, and it could be a magical ride. I can't argue with that, but
Yeah,
I don't know that Stewart is the trump card. You know what I mean? Like it might not be the thing that says, "Hey, this will put us over the top." But honestly, though, the offense has struggled.
hmm
The Arizona Diamondbacks pitching has been miserable, especially of late. And the Reds, the first two games made them look really good. And it wasn't until later in the game today that they got going. So listen, it could shake things up. And I honestly, I don't know the motives, but I actually, if I had to predict it, I would say Stewart comes up when they come home. I really think so after the Dodgers series.
yeah,
I bet he does. I bet he does. I bet he plays some second base, which he has played in AAA. He could give Hayes a day off here or there at third base, and
yeah.
he could play. He could be a DH. I don't know that Terry Francona is moving Spencer Steer off first at this point.
Yeah, no. I mean, Spencer Steer he's been phenomenal there. But I could definitely see that. I mean, and like you said, it could give the team a spark. He's one of your hottest hitters in your organization, and you bring him up and throw him in the middle of that lineup with a guy like Marte who's hitting the cover off the ball, and Ellie and Andujar, and you've got some things going there, especially with the way he's been hitting the ball.
The back of the bullpen today looked good.
Yeah.
Santillan, I think, gave up a hit, but he and Pagan got the job done at the end. It was a 6-1 lead, I believe, at the time, so it wasn't a
Mhm.
safe situation. But after giving Pagan a little bit of time off, I'm back to kind of being a little more locked in with him. I think. I mean, he's not lights out certainly, but he ran into a tough stretch where I think he just had pitched too much, and it seems
Oh,
like it seems like to me now the back end of the bullpen is pretty good, and we'll see with Odolo back, and then we'll see if Burns comes back and gets put back in the bullpen. What happens there? The everything should shape up pretty well. And Ashcraft, he actually had a good inning today.
he
Um,
did.
I've been struggling to really support him as a high leverage guy, but he's got the stuff to do it.
Yeah. I think that going back to your point about Pagan and Santillan, I mean, there was a point about a month ago, man. I thought they were going to fight Francona with how many times they were put in the game and how many innings they had to pitch. And you could definitely see it. Like you could definitely see it on both of them. Like they were exhausted. And and to their credit, they're pros, right? They kept taking the ball. They kept going out there and trying to get stuff done. I mean, and they were exhausted. So to see them rested to be able to get out is good. I like Graham Ashcraft a lot
Oh yeah,
because
I do too.
I
I just
because I think he's got really good stuff, but he's just got to find his groove. But yeah, I agree with you. To see him come in and get out and get some outs and have a good outing is all a positive, especially for, like you said, all our back end bullpen people having a good day today, which is a plus.
well, and if nothing else, again, it really underscores how tough it is to go to the bullpen after being a starter.
Hmm.
Nick Martinez makes it look easy. John Smoltz back in the day, I heard him talking a little bit on a national broadcast about he did it and he made it look easy. He went from one of the best starters in the game to one of the best closers of the game within a season. But he talked about all he had to do to change his mindset, change his routine, and for Nick Martinez to go back and forth the way he does, and
Hmm.
it was by necessity when he was not as highly respected a veteran as he is now. But now
Yeah,
for him to just do it, and it's not. I mean, that versatility is. I don't think that versatility is going to help every player with their contract status, but
yeah,
that versatility, that's great. Dustin chimes in again. He says he's calling Brady Singer, the savior, savior man. He has stepped up in some spots. We needed him. Listen, he has. Even my grandpa gave me a call tonight, and he's like, "Boy, they really needed that start out of Singer, didn't they?" And Grandpa was right, man. Listen, he on a good team, he's your fourth or fifth starter. That's definitely fine by me. And listen, he's also shown times where maybe he has a clunker here or there, but that's why he's not an ace, right? I mean, it is
right.
what it is. But he went 6 innings, 1 hit, 1 run, 3 walks, but he struck out 9.
Yeah, he
ERA down to
was.
4.06.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Like he's your fourth, fifth starter. Like that's those are the numbers you expect from a fourth, fifth guy. I mean, he's not going to come out there and throw gems every time. I mean, if he was, he'd be an ace somewhere. So he comes in and does exactly what he's supposed to do. I thought he pitched really well today. I mean, the walks sometimes haunt you, but he was able to work around those. But he had, like you said, he had 9 strikeouts. He pitched well. He went 6 innings, which is all you can ask for your starter. And he's had good starts his last couple of outings. Had a couple of really good starts. So he could be a guy that's finding his groove as well, coming down the stretch, knowing that there are other guys coming back off the IL. Um, so he's another guy too it's starting to hopefully click with him, and he's finding his groove.
Well, he's another guy too. We talked when they started to head out west, and then you and I talked Thursday about the idea that these bigger outfields would be good for the hitters because they
Hmm.
don't hit as many home runs anyway. So they would be more apt to hit extra base hits, which we've seen more triples this road trip than we would see in about a month and a half at Great American Ballpark.
Hmm.
But maybe it's good for Brady Singer as well. Gives up some fly balls here and there, and he's pitching in a bigger ballpark these last two times out. You can't argue with the success rate that he's had, like you said, these last two or three starts.
Yeah, no, it's definitely helped. Not pitching in Great American. I mean, it's hard when you are, you have pop-ups that turn into home runs or extra base hits. So for him to do what he's been able to do these last couple starts has been huge. And like you said, the bigger outfields playing out on the West Coast, it's seemed to help him a lot.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, hey, folks, keep them coming with the comments. We want to hear from you about the positives that we can look at. Ben, did you have any that you came up with that we haven't already talked about?
We talked about Marte. I want to touch on Nick Martinez. I think we talked about this Thursday. Like, to me, he's been our kind of MVP because of his versatility. He's been a guy that's been able to come in and have quality starts. He's a guy that can pitch on a bullpen day. He's a guy that can come in and come out of the bullpen. He can do all those different things, and he's been so consistent this year. I think he had like one, maybe two stinker outings, but other than that, man, he's been so consistent with all the guys that have been injured, all the guys that have been getting in and out of the rotation. Nick Martinez has been the guy that's been so consistent every time he gets the ball. I'm really glad that we were able to make that offer to him and that he was able to stay a Cincinnati Red because he's been so valuable to our pitching staff.
He has in very, very many ways. I mean, you described several of them. His leadership, his
Hmm.
listen. Not everybody can be rah rah guy and have him be pretty much universally beloved. I mean, there's even I don't know if you ever read the book the what was it called? The Bad Guys Won, I think it was called. It was about the '86 Mets, and
Okay.
Gary Carter's teammates universally disliked him because he was basically howdy doody and rah rah, and he wanted to get the picture of him, like he wanted to be on the front page. He wanted to be like he was. They kind of felt like he was a glory hound, but he kind of did it in a way that made it act like he was all shucks guy. You know what I mean?
Oh
And
yeah.
I'm not saying Nick Martinez is that because he seems to be universally loved by his teammates, and so especially if a few things are going poorly for your team, not everybody can have the nickname Nicky Smiles and still
Yeah.
still resonate. By the way, positives yesterday was a negative for Andrew Abbott. He only went 4 innings. He gave up 7 runs, 6 of them earned. You give up 6 earned runs, you figure your ERA is going to balloon. His only went up to 2.62. How good
Man,
has he been this year to have an outing where you give up 6 runs in only 4 innings, and yet ERA went up, but not. It's still 2.62.
still 262, which is insane. Yeah, he's been unfortunately he didn't have his best stuff yesterday. But universally he's been really, really good. And it's tough to watch him struggle because he has been so good. Because he's a guy, once he takes the ball, like you feel like you've already won the game. So when he takes it and he struggles, it's tough to see. But hopefully those are few and far between because he has been so consistent this year. Like I said, he's been an all-star. He's been consistent. He's been kind of that rock of the rotation. And hopefully that was just a one-off occurrence where he just didn't have his best stuff yesterday.
Well, and the mantra of this staff, here's another positive: when you throw a bad outing, you bounce back. I mean, Singer and
Mhm.
Martinez have done that time and time again. If they do have a clunker, they come back, and for those guys, it was like a 2 inning outing or something like that, and they come back and
Mhm.
throw like 8 or 9 innings. And here we go. I mean, Andrew Abbott, that's your call. It won't be in the Dodgers series. It'll come when they come home and play St. Louis over the
Yeah.
next weekend. So I don't know. I mean, positive, positive, positive. Let's keep going. The idea we talked about the other night we started high school football season the other day. It was week 0 in college football. NFL starts in a couple weeks, and we're still talking about the Reds.
Yep.
I know you were really excited, about that aspect of what's going on. Now, again, if we were being negative and if they lost today, it'd feel like the house was burning around us a little bit. But
Yeah.
they get the win. They're only a game and a half back. They've got a chance, man, and they'll have a series with the Mets at home there in early September. So if they can keep within that game and a half range, maybe even take the lead.
Hmm.
Maybe you could start to put the coffin nails in a little bit, as Dave Lappin might say.
Oh yeah. I think we all forget like how good it feels to be in a spot where you've got a chance to make the playoffs in August and September. Like I think we've been so kind of like, I don't know if it's you know conditioned or what, but we're so conditioned to be like negative in August because we're so out of it and we're not playing well, and and there's the playoff hopes are dashed. But here we are, like it's the middle or end of August. It's August 24th. We're about to be in September, and the Reds are still only 1.5 games out of a playoff spot, which you know to me, that's meaningful baseball in August, which we haven't had in a long time. So, you can't be overly negative, and there's going to be times where this team is going to make you angry, and they went on a 3-game losing streak, and that's of course sucks, but they're still in it, and we still have enough guys to make a run at it. Our rotation is still good. Our lineup is getting better. Guys are getting healthy. We are in a good spot. So it's hard for me to think of negatives when I can still click on a Reds game in August and it means something.
It does. I was going to ask you, Ben. I had that series on Red Leg Roundtable where I talked to the hosts of the Riverfront about how they became Reds fans. I don't know that I got to talk to you about that. What are your fond memories of being a kid and enjoying the Reds? What kind of hooked you?
Um, Honestly, what hooked me was Eric Davis.
No, absolutely. I'm in line with you.
So in 86, 87, that's when I
Uh-huh.
first started playing baseball. And the first guy that I noticed with the high top, he had red Nike high top cleats. Yo, there he is. Red Nike high top cleats. And he had that cool batting stance where that thing just waved around. Dude, I was hooked. I was hooked. I'm not old enough to remember the Big Red Machine. I'm not old enough to remember Joe, the Joe Morgans and Tony Perez's. And, of course I know those guys because I live in the area and I know it and I know Reds history and Reds baseball. But watching Eric Davis play baseball, like that was it. Like I was stunned. I went out and for my baseball team, I wanted to be number 44. I made my parents buy me red cleats. You know what I mean? I bought the wristbands that he used to wear. I
Yep.
chewed the gum, which I don't think his was gum, but I chewed the gum. It. I did all of it because he to me was the epitome of like that's what he made Reds baseball cool. And of course, I mean they had Barry Larkin and guys like Cal Daniels and all these different cool dudes that I remember. But Eric Davis for me was when I was like, man, the Reds are really cool. And then of course you get up to 90 and they win the World Series and you got the Nasty Boys and you've got all these guys and all these attitudes and it was just cool to be a Reds fan in that state or in that age. And the coolest of them all was Eric Davis.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I thought I could will him to hit a home run just by thinking. I
Hmm.
mean, because he did it once when I thought that way. And I thought, yeah, every time I think, oh, he's going to hit a home run, he's not really going to hit a home run. But I got the feeling. Hey, we're up to 91 viewers right now on the live show. And I got to tell you, you and Skylar have been getting easily over 100. We need all you guys tuned in to tell your family, tell your friends, get on here so I don't feel so embarrassed that I'm feeling for Skylar. Skylar's not here because Skylar had a date with his wife tonight. And if you've
Hey,
ever had young children, you know you got to take advantage of that. And I was happy to be able to fill in for him tonight just so he could have a date with his wife. He says he's going to a comedy show. Nate Bargatze was here in Columbus last night. Oh, actually, I think he's back tonight. I bet that's where he is.
oh
And I got to
really?
tell you, I saw Nate Bargatze in a drive-in at South Drive-In in Columbus in 2020 because of the COVID stuff. He went
Oh
on
yeah.
tour. He went on tour and did drive-ins. I stumbled on him during COVID, and not as many people knew who he was. He was playing tiny little clubs before COVID hit, and then he's
Hmm.
doing this drive-in. Then we saw him at the Palace Theater in Columbus, which was probably 2,500 people. And now he's doing sold-out nationwide arena like twice in 6 months. And he was there last night, and he's there again tonight. Nate Bargatze, if you don't know him, he's so funny.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm assuming that's where Skylar is. Hey, up to 93 since I made the plea. Somebody else, tell your friends. Um, yeah, man, baseball was just that was my first love. Like I love football.
Hmm.
I love basketball. And I would tell you sometimes it depends on what time of year, what is my favorite sport now to be a fan of. But man, Eric Davis, that summer of 1987, I started collecting baseball cards to get as many
Hmm.
Eric Davises that I could. I started watching, which wasn't very often in Southeast Ohio. They'd be on like, oh my goodness, even fewer times than you got them on TV. But
Oh
when
wow.
did you go to your first game? Do you remember that?
I do. It was. I went. It was summer of 1985 was when I went to my first one.
Okay. And
Yep.
you
And
lived
my
there. You lived there in the Cincinnati area.
yep. Yeah. So my first. That's the first one I remember. So I mean, I'm not sure if I went before, but it was the summer of '85 was the first one I went to. I was 7 years old.
Yeah.
So, and I remember going, and I remember my dad taking me. I remember us. We we sat in the red seats because those were
Yeah.
the cheapest. So,
Absolutely.
so we'd go up there and we'd sit, and the big thing then, of course, was getting an ice cream, of course, which is still big today.
Yeah.
So I was able to get the helmet ice cream, and it was it was awesome. It was an awesome day.
That's great. Now, Dustin Croft chimes in with this. If we're talking about positives, October baseball, man, Cincinnati will be lit. We were talking about that a few minutes ago
Mhm.
about the possibilities of this team, but also those memories we have. I got to go in '95 and I saw them lose against the Braves. My tradition of opening days and being where I grew up was a 3-hour drive. And so
Oh
we
yeah.
made that trip during high school. I drove over and watched them play in the playoffs. They did get beat. We were expecting Joey to be born in 2010 when they got to the playoffs, and I couldn't drive that far away when she was only like,
Oh yeah.
I think she was due like October 15th or so. So it
Oh
was like, yeah,
yeah.
I'm not going to a Reds game
Can't
now.
do
I
that.
didn't go in 2012 either. I really wished I had, although they lost those games as well. So, it's pretty amazing to think about what it was like. That I've heard that the Frazier home run derby was probably the loudest it's ever been.
Yeah.
But I've heard that the 2010 and 2012 playoff games at GABP were pretty impressive as far as how loud they got.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard some really good stories about when they made the playoffs, and even just downtown, like
Mm-hmm.
the downtown area, and people being able to hang out and walk around and just be around the stadium. Because I do remember that part, like people that couldn't get tickets, they were still just hanging around the
Sure.
stadium, and they
Yeah.
were listening and hanging out, and yeah, it was just it's just a cool thing when they're in the playoffs, um, because of the atmosphere of the city. Like the city is just all in. It's just like with any other sport. I mean, with the Bengals or whatever, but like the city is just all in when they're in, and they'll be. I mean, now there's so much stuff down there now. I mean, you're down there on the banks, and you got all those bars and restaurants and all. I mean, it would be insane. It would be absolutely insane.
It would. It would be opening day on steroids
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah,
because
you wouldn't be able to move.
Because what happens on opening day is it's mostly people there to have a good time and kind of be
Mhm.
seen and kind of, say that they went. Um, I tell you, that's the one reason why I don't like sitting down the baselines on opening day on the field level. Is
Yeah.
how they tilted those seats toward basically the mound and home plate. That's a great innovation. Like I remember when they built Comerica a few years earlier. You sit down there and you face center field. Like you've got to turn your body in your chair to see the pitch. Well, the problem on opening day is people are up and down the aisles so much
So much,
that
yeah.
when you're turned toward an aisle and people just keep walking past you, that's how I know people aren't really engaged in watching the game as much.
Yeah.
But you get to the playoffs, sure there'd be some of that maybe with the wealthier people that maybe just don't care as much. They just want to be heard, seen and heard. But I think that the passion would be there. And listen, Chad often calls the people of the last X amount of years a lost generation. Maybe it's even almost two now, right? Of Reds
Mhm.
fans that have never seen a winner. Um, I don't blame anybody for jumping on a bandwagon when they get good. I mean, look at the Bengals, right? The
Yeah.
Bengals Super Bowl run was one of the most fun things ever, in part because it was. I mean, I'm telling you, it was like we slowed the wagon down and let people jump on it every chance we got.
Heck
And
yeah.
the same thing would happen with the Reds. If the Reds became a perennial contender, I mean, it's I say it all the time. Milwaukee is not that much of a bigger place than the Cincinnati Reds fan base
Mhm.
area, and yet they sell 30 plus thousand tickets a game.
Yeah.
And the
Yep.
same way with the Cardinals. The Cardinals aren't drawing at all, Ben.
No.
They've
Yeah.
only been bad for a year and a half. And they're not drawing at all. And you
Yeah.
hear people, I've read comments, I've seen people say it. We're not going because we don't like the way they're running the team. Well, how do you think it's been in Cincinnati for all these years?
Right.
So these owners need to understand, and I know I'm getting away from being positive, but my positive spin on this is if they would understand, we're at 99 viewers, by the way. Come on,
There we
one
go.
more. This positive spin on this would be, please, owners, open your eyes. See that if you get a winner, more people will come. It's
Absolutely.
easier to get to Cincinnati, like, than it probably was, years and years ago. Like, right? I mean, whatever. It's just to me, there would be so many more fans at every game, and that's what matters. And if it's not what matters to you as an owner, I just wish you get out because
Yeah.
it's happening. You see it in Pittsburgh, you see it in other places. These guys just want to cash their revenue sharing checks and then just sit on their yachts or whatever they do.
Hmm.
And I want to see this Reds team really continue to flourish, and hopefully we can do that.
Yeah. The thing that I notice the most when the Reds are good is how many people are actually Reds fans. Like not only just regular people, but people that are like famous.
Hmm.
Like when the Reds are good, there are a lot of famous people that'll start wearing Reds hats. And you're like, I didn't know you were a Reds fan. Oh, I love the Reds. And it's like oh like people. There are so many people that love this organization and the Reds. They either grew up around this area, they're from Cincinnati, or their nana lived in Cincinnati, or grandpa used to go to Reds games. Like there's so many people like that in the area that like they're just waiting for the Reds to be in the playoffs. They're just waiting for the Reds to be good. They're just waiting for the Reds to have that year, that breakout year. So it's cool to see when they're good because you start to see like you're like, oh, I didn't know so and so was a Reds fan. Like, oh yeah, like yeah, I love the Reds. So, oh, my nana used to live downtown, and we used to go. I mean, like then you start getting those stories. You're like, oh my gosh, like we got some famous stars that love the Reds.
Well, Pat
What's up,
McCooch,
Pat?
I,
Oh,
I thought you were just I thought you saw maybe in the Slack that I was here instead of Skylar, and you decided not to come. But I forgive you, man. If your dial-up wasn't working, that's understandable. We have pushed past 100 viewers. I'm happy to say Pat's one of them. Pat pushed us over the top. Um, Pat, we've
there it
been
is.
trying to stay positive tonight. Can you give me some positive vibes about this team? Because I was sensing some negatives when it came to social media interactions and things like that. As they kind of they limped into and through Arizona until today's big win. So if you got any positives for us, Pat, bring him before we close out the show here in a few minutes. How did Cooper do Friday night, Ben?
We lost, so
Ah,
but it's all right. I mean, it's the first game of the year. We've got new kids, and we're trying to figure it out, but we'll be all right. We'll bounce back.
Pat says, Marte seems like a star, and Big Sugar is a cool nickname. We didn't even talk about Big Sugar. Big Sugar made his debut.
Oh yeah,
He gave up a home run, but he struck out 5 in 2 innings. He throws the ball so
yeah,
hard.
yeah,
That
yeah.
was
He's
that
earned
was
that nickname, Big Sugar Man. He brings
His
it.
little brother was so excited. I assume it was his brother. He was so
Yeah,
excited when he struck out the first or second guy, and then he gave up the home run, and he was like, "Oh, no." But then he still struck out a couple more. Hey, so
yeah,
Waterston, the team I call the games for, they played last year's D2 runner-up, or well, they played in the semifinal, I should say. Big
yeah.
Walnut, they're from here near here as well. They lost to Anderson in the semifinal last year. Well, they come in
Hmm.
and Big Walnut goes up 15-0. And it was like, what is
Oh
going
wow.
on? And even as that was happening, it looked like both teams were playing hard and playing well. And there was just a mistake here, there, and things like that. Waterston hadn't figured out the kicking
Hmm.
game just yet. Hopefully that comes along. Waterston scored 37 unanswered points.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they won 37-15. And then, so Carter Belisari is Steve Belisari's son. He
Okay,
started
yeah,
he started all 16 games at corner last year, corner defensive back last year, and was great, was amazing. Started on the basketball team as well as a sophomore. He was only a sophomore. So this year they've determined that he's just going to be such a good receiver that he's only going to play a little bit of defense. Well, he goes out there and goes for 159 yards receiving.
oh
And
geez.
you should have seen it. His first touchdown, he scored 2. His first touchdown, the DB had it right here in his hands, and then Carter Belisari just ripped it from him, and like took it out
Holy
of mid,
cow.
like as he clutched it, and he took it out, and it was a touchdown.
Holy
So,
cow.
Pat McGooch, how did Bishop Sycamore do this weekend? They played that team from what was that team that Scott Bakula was in that movie about?
Oh, necessary roughness.
Yeah, Necessary Roughness. They were playing them this weekend. No. So good game out of Waterston. It was a fun night. But funny story for you, Ben. Before we shut down here in a few minutes, unless somebody wants to chime in with more Reds comments, I get there at 4:30. I'm ready to set up my equipment, get ready for the 7 o'clock kick. I got to run down
Mhm.
a few pronunciations of new players, things like that with a couple of coaches. So I have some things to do. We get upstairs. I start to get everything together. The power went out. So the power went
Oh,
out, and of course it's Central Ohio, so it's going to be daylight till about 8:30, maybe 8:20, right? I mean,
yeah,
you could still play at around 8:25, 8:30. Well, that's fine and dandy for them, but I got I got a soundboard and a laptop, and both of them have batteries, but I don't know that they'd make it through a 3.5 hour broadcast because we do a pregame and a
yeah,
post. And the sad thing was, I have a little block power adapter. It takes plugs like you would plug in at home,
yeah.
uh, as well as USB and things like that. It's really a handy little thing. In fact, the interview I did with the Charlie Hustle writer, I'm blanking on his name right now, Pete O'Brien. I did that from my car while my son was playing a soccer game with my laptop and soundboard plugged into this thing, and it was a full
Holy
hour
cow.
interview. So I was like, I got plenty of power for an hour, maybe 2. All right.
Yeah,
But this power's out, and I'm like, I don't know, man. And then when it gets to like at 8:20 or so, that's only going to be like the end of the second quarter, right? I
yeah,
mean, it's not going to be the whole the halftime show and all that wouldn't happen. And so we're like, we don't know what's going to happen, but they're getting ready like they're just going to play, right? And they're going to have to do special timing on the field and all that, no scoreboard timer, things like that. So at 6:29, we go on at 6:30. At 6:29, I've got my mouse hovering over the go live thing. I'm ready to go. We're going to do it on battery power as long as we can. And then all of a sudden, boom, the lights come on, the scoreboard comes on. They kicked off at 7 o'clock like they're supposed to. Everything was fine.
everything was fine. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
But man, I was sweating it out. And I got to tell you, I mean, I had planned to sit down and really do a lot of review on like getting ready for the game and stuff
Well,
like that.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
I spent this whole time just like, what am I going to do? And then I'm like, I should have brought that power block. And I looked at it and I thought, nah, I won't need that.
We're
And then
good.
and then I didn't charge my laptop ahead of time, so it really only had about 75% battery. I'm
Oh
like,
man.
man, this is really, I'm just going to be really upset at myself if this thing doesn't work. but it all worked out, and they won the
That's
game.
awesome.
So that's good. But yeah, man, I don't have any other comments from anybody. We got the 111. Skylar will hopefully be okay with that, don't you think? He'll be okay.
I
with
think
that, right?
I think he'll be good. Yeah, he's good.
I appreciate all you guys out there. I appreciate the Slack channel. Certainly, we have an ever-growing family of Cincinnati Reds fans, really Cincinnati sports fans. We've got on our Slack channel, we've got Bengals tab and the Reds tab. We do a random tab. We have a movies tab. There's plenty of conversation going on our Slack channel, and you can gain access to that by joining Patreon. Go to patreon.com/riverfrontcincy. And you also obviously subscribe on YouTube, subscribe to our social media at Riverfront Cincy, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all of it. We have, Pat says he never misses a Friday podcast. Thank you, Pat. I really appreciate you. You're the one. Okay. No, so also you can use that code Riverfront whenever you become a new, and I'm not here to tell you how many email addresses you could tell SeatGeek you have. If you want to be your first ticket purchase through SeatGeek, you can use the code Riverfront and receive $20 off. That'd be awesome. Again, please subscribe to us everywhere you hear us on podcast platforms. And Ben, hopefully all these folks will be back to see you next week. We're going to have, hopefully in the next day or two, Owen and Caroline will be bringing you Welcome to the Jungle. And obviously there's some things to talk about with Cut Down Day coming on Tuesday. Ben, are they going to keep 6 or 7 linebackers or what, man? What are they going to do?
I don't know what they're going to do. Who
What
knows?
are they do at guard? Are they going to sign a guard? They need a guard.
I hope so.
Yeah, I got to keep Joe upright. Let's do that. So they'll have that. And as Pat reminded everybody in the chat, we will have the Riverfront Red Show. It will be recorded later this week, and it'll come out on Friday just after midnight. You can wake up to my awesome voice and check us out there. And tell a friend. And Ben, I really appreciate hanging out with you again.
Oh, yeah.
We were just saying the other day, we hadn't seen each other
I
and
know.
talked. And now this weekend we've been together twice. We bookend the weekend. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Well, best of luck to you as you continue to get back into school and with the football team and everything. And are you going to head down to the opener?
I'm gonna try. That's the
where
plan.
are they playing? They're down in Arkansas, right? Arkansas State.
Yeah, Arkansas State. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. How long a drive is that?
It's like 7. It's
not
not
terrible. Not bad. You could
They
do
play
that.
at night, so we should be good.
There's like 2 Buc-ee's on the way too, I bet.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Got it mapped out.
Okay. Okay. And then we'll stop at this Buc-ee's and that Buc-ee's.
Yep.
Get the brisket.
Oh, always.
Yeah, get the brisket.
Always.
If you buy it by the pound, you can buy it without the sauce.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but they won't do it on a sandwich without the sauce.
Gotcha.
But it's great with the sauce.
Yes,
the Buckeyes. How do you think the Buckeyes look this year? Let's get your prediction.
Oh, I think we'll be fine.
Oh, yeah, fine. Yeah, fine. Yeah. And fine means fine means 11 wins or 12 wins and going through the playoffs. Fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fine for Ohio State is not let's make the salad.
No, we're headed to the playoffs. We'll be absolutely. We're still loaded. We still got the best player in the
country. Yeah, on both sides of the ball, by the way. Yeah, on both sides of the ball. All right, Pat. Thanks for coming, and thanks everybody else in the chat for being a part of it. We're still going upward. I feel like you folks, we're up to 121 right now. I mean, if you'd all come at 9 when we start, we'd have a real kicking party going. But you have to come back for Skylar and Ben next week at 9:00 on Sunday night. Again, thanks to everybody out there. We're so pleased that everybody can join into the fun. And go Reds, man. Let's beat those Dodgers. That's a big rivalry, I'm told, from the Big Red Machine days. All right. So long, everybody.